Hello and welcome to the Geography Options video. I hope you like the introduction. That gives you a bit of background into the geography course itself. I'm going to now go into a little bit more detail on the different aspects of the course. All this information can be found in the options booklet in case you miss anything. Okay? We here at Hurstmere, we study the AQA syllabus, and that is syllabus code 8035. In terms of the course itself, it looks at physical geography, human geography, and all of the themes and things we actually study are based around these, as well as geographical skills and some kind of issue evaluation stuff, and I'll talk about that as we go through. Okay? The course itself is a 2-year course, and over the 2 years we prepare the students for 3 exams sat in the summer term of year 11. Paper 1 is a physical geography paper, paper 2 is a human geography paper, and both of those are 35%. Then paper 3 is 30% of the final mark, and that is all to do with geographical skills, geographical evaluation, critical thinking and field work. Okay, I'll go into a bit more detail on these now. Okay, in terms of those units of study, they're basically broken down to those exam papers. In terms of the physical aspect of the course, living with the physical environment, that's broken down to these 3 topics. The first topic is the challenge of natural hazards. That's very similar to what you've all been studying on the run up to Christmas, to do with the death and destruction involved in earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanoes. It also incorporates some of the stuff you've done previously, to do with weather hazards like hurricanes and typhoons. We also touch on climate change, a big problem that we're facing us as a human race in the next 20, 30 years. So that will be your problem to sort out. Physical landscapes in the UK. We live on an island. We need to know what's going on with our coastline, so we study that. Okay? We also study rivers. We look at rivers because, as you know, rivers are massively important. They're an important ecosystem, and they're important because, unfortunately, they flood quite often. Flooding's been getting worse. We need to understand why that happens and how we can mitigate or stop it. Then we have the living world. Now, as you are all aware, it's really important that we look after our planet. Okay? Without the planet that we have, we wouldn't be able to survive. So in this, we look at ecosystem environments. What are we doing to those ecosystems? How can we protect them in the future? So that's the physical aspects of the course. Then we've got the human aspects of the course. We've got the urban issues and challenges, where we look at lots of different cities around the world, but crucially, okay, for the first time in human history, in 2012, we reached a threshold. we reached a threshold when more people live in towns and cities than in the countryside. That's bringing lots of problems, issues in cities, and also challenges, but also it brings benefits as well, and that's what we're studying. We actually look at London quite a lot for that. The changing economic world. Now the world is ever changing in terms of its economics. How has that affected us here in the UK? What does that mean for the future? So we look at the economic future of the UK, we look at the past history of the UK's economics, but also we look at the world in terms of how it's changed over time. This is actually really relevant at the moment in terms of what's been going on with global trade and us having to start off our new trade deal having gone through the whole Brexit process. Lastly, we look at the challenge of resource management. As you know, we rely heavily on fossil fuels. Those fossil fuels are not going to last forever. How are we going to make sure we've got enough energy for the future? How are we going to tackle that issue? And what is our use of fossil fuels causing the problems now? Finally, we've got the geographical applications, which is based on issue evaluation and fieldwork. The issue evaluation is all to do with critical thinking. Now, that itself is assessed in a very strange way, not one that you're used to, and will get you ready for that. On paper 3, okay, we get given by the exam board an issue that we have to evaluate, and we get given that 12 weeks before the exam. We then prepare you. For example, it could be something like, should a tunnel be built on the A303 to go underneath Stonehenge to relieve traffic and traffic problems on that road? And you have to argue for or against whether that should happen. Another one, should a coal mine be opened up, or should we start to do fracking? And you have to argue whether or not you think that's right. For the issue evaluation, there is no right or wrong answer. It's all to do with critical thinking and how you put your argument across. Then we've got fieldwork, and I'll talk about that now. We have two bits of fieldwork that we have to go and do. We have to go and study a physical environment and a human environment. So we spend some time down at Herne Bay looking at the coast there, and we study the coast. We also go to Stratford and Olympic site to see how urban areas have changed, and importantly how that area is being redeveloped for the Olympics and who are the winners and losers of that whole project. Alongside that, we as a geography department, we run the Iceland trip, and that's something you can do in year 11 in Easter. Okay? The Iceland trip is not exclusive for geographers, but it complements the geography course really well. You can actually go and see the stuff you've been learning about. So you can go and see all the things you've been learning about in your geography lessons if you go on the Iceland trip. Skills. I talked about lots of skills already, but the geography course is full of skills. And this is one of the reasons that employers really like geographers, because all of the skills they have to do on the course. There's cartographic skills to do with looking at maps and interpreting those maps in geographical information systems, numerical skills and how to manipulate data, and that also leads into statistics as well, and what crucially those statistics are telling us. We can also put our data that we have into graphs to show that more easily. We manipulate data, we use data, we understand data, and we have to communicate that data, and that's really important skills that geographers have, and this course will give you. The course actually fits quite nicely with some of the science curriculum, and there's a little bit of overlap with that. In terms of progression, A-level and degree are highly regarded by employers for the reasons I've just talked about. For the fact that you have such a range of skills and you understand the ever-changing world that we now live in, that, as you know, is rapidly changing. And if you can do that, you can help lots of different businesses and employers with their work. There's also literacy skills. You have to be able to communicate really well. So in terms of the geography course, it complements lots of things and employers do like it. Here are some of the various different jobs that geographers do. I'm not going to leave that on there too long. If you want more information, we'll look at those. If you go to the Geographical Association website, there's all of those on there and the different career paths that geographers actually take part in. Expectations. Okay, we have very high expectations of you if you start the geography course. It's really important that as soon as we hit the ground running, you knuckle down and you work hard. We believe that when you come to lessons, we want exemplary behaviour because we want to give you the best chance of getting the best grade you can, and crucially, Okay, understand the world that you now live in. And this one, there's no money in geography. Okay, people always say this, there's no money in geography, but here on the screen we've got two people. This person here you'll probably recognise as will.i.am, okay, and this person you probably won't recognise. One of these people's net worth is about 75 million, and the other one net worth is 3.4 billion. Okay, will.i.am, his net worth is about 75 million, give or take. He's the singer-songwriter. This guy here, okay, his name is Jack Dangermond, and he is the owner and the person who set up something called ISRI. Okay, now ISRI is a geographic information systems platform that you will all use, but not know you're using it. If you basically use Google or go to the shops, or you use Tesco online, or you use your Tesco Club card, this man has got all the things in the background that work out your habits, where you go, how far you want to go, and it's all to do with geography in time and space. Very clever man, geographer, worth £3.4 billion. Okay? Now, in terms of me talking about geography, I could do it all day long. I love it. What you probably want to hear is information about the course from a past student. Now, luckily for you, I asked one of our past students to do a short little video to talk about the geography course so you can understand it in a bit more detail. So, you're now going to see some information and things from a past student called Josh Horak, who was with us a few years ago. He now is just finishing his A-levels at Townley Grammar School, and he's got an unconditional offer to go and study geography at university. He's going to talk about geography at Hurstmere from a student perspective for you. Thanks for listening. Any questions, please do get in touch.
Hello everyone, my name is Josh Horak. I've been asked by Mr. Monksfield and Mr. Baston to make a short video for you on why you should choose Geography GCSE. It's definitely probably one of the best subjects you can take at GCSE, if not the best. It's a very broad subject. People don't usually know that geography is as broad as it actually is. It's not all just rivers, coasts, tectonics. It's a lot to do with different people, different places, different countries, trading, economies, lots of different things. Obviously, it's got physical aspects, so you learn about rivers, coasts, how different processes shape the world and how the world works effectively. So yeah, geography is a very good subject. We go on 2 field trips with the geography department for GCSE. I went to Herne Bay on the southeast coast, and we went to Stratford as well for our human work. Both very good field trips. You'll enjoy them. And then obviously there's the Iceland trip, which isn't exclusive to geography students, but I would say it's a lot better going on the trip if you do study geography, because you really get to appreciate Iceland and its intricacies and all of the different processes on the country, or in the country. Yeah, it's a great trip that a lot of people will really enjoy, and you should definitely consider it if you're a geography student. How geography has helped me. So I now study geography A-level along with politics and economics at Townley Grammar School in Bexley Heath. I've recently been given an unconditional offer from Queen Mary University of London to study geography and business management. And that obviously will complement my geography GCSE and A-level, and I also took business studies GCSE, which will complement that as well. So geography can open a lot of doors for you. It ties in really well if at A-level you want to study things like business or economics. It ties in really well with that. I have at A-level right now, sometimes some of my lessons for economics and geography are almost exactly the same. So very broad subject, very interesting subject. And then in terms of what geography is like at Hurstmere, it's never boring. All of the teaching staff are great. The department is very well equipped. There's never too much handwritten work. Obviously you're going to be taking notes and lessons and stuff, but the teachers are always interacting with you. There's always going to be different lesson plans, and it's not always the same thing. So you're doing some practical learning as well as taking notes. Geography definitely opens more doors for you in the future than other subjects that you can take at GCSE, just because of its broad nature, and it ties in a lot really well with a lot of other different subjects at A level. You'll be surprised if you take Geography GCSE. Firstly, you'll be surprised at how well it ties in with your other GCSEs, but then if you take it further and go study geography at A level, you'll also be surprised just how geography ties in with, you know, almost every subject. There's aspects of geography within it. So yeah, geography can open a lot of doors for you. It's a very good subject. And one thing I forgot to mention is that the geography department at Hurstmere is probably the best department from what I can remember in terms of GCSE exam preparation. That's obviously very key, very important to be prepared for your exam. So if you want to take a subject that you'll enjoy, that you'll never be bored in, that the teachers are good, that you'll be prepared when it comes to your exams well, then definitely choose geography.